Garoppolo. Thrown down. Brian Burns gets there. Spider-Man. What a pass rush by Burns. See how quickly he got to the edge and got
This is Desmond Johnson on the Bleav and Carolina Panthers podcast, here on the Bleav Podcast Network, the #1 podcast network for professionals. Do you Bleav? If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and rate the show on iTunes. We're available in your favorite directories: iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Luminary, and TuneIn. You can also find us at Bleav.com and at Bleav Podcast on Twitter. And welcome into a brand new edition of the Bleav and Carolina Panthers podcast here on Bleav Podcast Networks. I'm your host, Desmond Johnson, joined by Panthers Sports Illustrated beat writer Schuyler, Callihan, and the Panthers' all-time leading rusher, Jonathan Stewart. You can catch us every Tuesday live in season here on the Tobacco Road Sports Radio YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Tobacco Road Sports Radio. Pound that like button there. And, of course, the audio will be available a little bit later on today across all major podcast platforms on the Bleav Podcast Network. Lot to get to. Panthers are on their bye week, 0-6 going into this bye week. But what we do here at the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast, we got a little bit of positivity for you. Not just positivity, though, because we do understand that there's probably a few of you that are quite mad over what's happened over the past 6 weeks and more.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why we mad, son. I'm going to tell you why we mad.
So, we couldn't go into the bye week without a Tell Them Why You Mad edition. I was actually listening to a podcast from a Panther content creator last night. And I was just listening to the rant, and the guy he just had it. Like, he literally had it. It was almost like he was piling on multiple regime failures onto Frank Wright and company. Like, they did all this other stuff from 8 years ago. So they put it all on him. I'm just sitting there listening to it. I'm like, it's really not that bad. I'm not in that same place. And I think Schuyler was saying the same thing when we first came in. We all know Stu's Mr. Positivity, so he wasn't going to come in here bashing on the Panthers either. So we're going to get y'all right. We're going to get y'all right going into this bye week so you can feel better about what you're watching right now, because I know a lot of you do not feel that way. If you don't feel that way, you can actually put your comments in the comment section, and it'll show up here at the bottom, like our superfan Jamie Revis said. Good morning to everybody here. Panther Pickle in the house as well. That is a long paragraph of wow, a lot of stuff going on. Zach Jose, Chin should be used like the honey badger, meaning all over the place. Hill is a better slot guy, but have Chin roaming and moving everywhere, so teams don't know if he's blitzing, playing the man zone. Burns too.
A lot to say, man.
So clearly you got a lot.
Can he re-say that and paraphrase it?
Do it and break it up in sentences for us.
I've already read my devotion this morning. I already read the books this morning.
I love the love. Zach. You're devoted. You are invested in this team. So
that's like one of those texts that you see on social media, and they put, I ain't reading all that.
But he's probably right about whatever he's saying.
It probably is. He was very thorough. Yeah. So thank you for being here, Zach. We appreciate it. Panthers fall 42-21 to the Miami Dolphins. Before we get into the box score, and we'll do a little around the NFL too if we've got time at the very end.
Yes, please. I'm upset.
So he's frustrated. He is mad about something he saw in the NFL. So we'll get to all that too. So before we do all that, a word from our friends over at BetOnline. Football is back, and BetOnline is your #1 information source for all your sports wagering info with all the up-to-minute stats, news, scores, and matchup breakdowns. Get the latest game odds, spreads, and totals from the NFL and college football at your fingertips with BetOnline's real-time updates on statistics, news, and odds. From week 1 all the way to the college football playoff and Super Bowl, BetOnline gives you access to the best football promotions and contests available anywhere online. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code Bleav, BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts, and where we typically start these episodes is a quick look at the box score. We're not going to stay on it too long here. Game started out great. I mean, best we've seen offense all year. I was sitting in my living room watching it, and was just like, "What is this? This actually looks good. It's working. Everything's looking great." I will say this before I turn it over to you guys: Chuba Hubbard needs to be the lead back. We need to stop playing. Chuba Hubbard needs to be the #1 back. Miles Sanders needs to be the third down guy, come in on passing situations, that kind of thing. I know we're paying him money. We'll figure that out at the end of the year. Chuba Hubbard, we drafted him. Chuba Hubbard's running hard. Chuba Hubbard's averaging over like 5 yards carry. Chuba Hubbard needs to be the lead running back of this football team. Am I lying, or am I just seeing things weird, or do y'all agree? Or
I mean, I like it. But
I like it.
I mean, obviously, you're paying Miles a lot of money, like you said. But here's the thing: like today, I'm gonna rewatch it because I had Hornets Sunday evening, so I didn't really get to catch a whole lot of the second half. And I don't know, maybe you guys could tell me, but it felt like they were going more with the same run schemes that they did last year when they were successful, the inside, traps, the powers and stuff like that, instead of the zone reads and the stretches. I don't know if that's what they did or not, but it felt like that. So if that's the case, then maybe that's just the formula and Miles would have the same success too. I don't know.
Well, I think mainly they didn't really do too much different me in the run game. Besides window dressing. Got some
yes.
Run that Chuba had on the going off to the left side. He bounced it. The receiver went in motion. I think it was Laviska. Goes in motion. It's exactly what you want, and it's exactly what offensive line would want, because what it does is you get shifts in the defense. Now the linebacker that isn't reachable, at the second level, all of a sudden becomes reachable because you have some window dressing. You got to get those linebackers moving, because otherwise they're just going to dial in on the backfield, and they know run's coming. They're just going to sit there and wait for it. You get some window dressing, you get some motions going, at least now their eyes have to drift a little bit for a second. They have to take a step to the left for just a moment. Those little moments are huge. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw last night, but, running game, man, is all about angles. If the offensive line can get angles on who they're supposed to block, that's where you find success. And so I saw a lot more of that we haven't seen probably since week 1. And I'm not sure if they called it simplifying the offense, but what I saw was an addition to the offense, which was maybe it's simplifying by adding just a wrinkle. but what I did see out of Chuba, though, and what I've been seeing since last year, is decisive running. You take one cut and you get upfield.
Yes.
And not just get upfield, but you run angry. You run with determination. Because at the end of the day, the running back position needs that, especially when the offense might be struggling. But not just the offense. Let's talk about defense, right? Like the defense, like we haven't really talked much about the defense, but the defense has been giving up points. Okay? And so what happens when our defense is struggling? You got to keep them off the field. You got to give them a break, right? They tired of chasing the Tyreek Hills of the world. They try a lot of fast people out there.
That dude.
Okay. So what better way to accomplish that goal, accomplishing the goal of, saving your defense and, dialing in on the offense by running the ball well. And I think that's one of the things that stood out in the very beginning is we're able to move the chains. We're able to be physical at the line of scrimmage, and having Chuba run with that determination. I mean, it's something that defenses don't want to see. I mean, when I played with the mindset, I'm not going to be tackled by one guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if it was 1-2 yards. After every game, I had guys come up to me and say, "Dang, you was hard to tackle, man. I'm glad we, put up points so that way y'all didn't have to run the ball no more." You know what I'm saying? Those are the types of things that you want to hear. You know what I'm saying? Guys that at the end of the day don't want to tackle you. They don't because the physical part of the game is wear and tear. And if you start with that mindset in a football game, it's hard for a defense to last. And so shout out to Chuba Hubbard for running hard. He's definitely been a bright spot throughout the whole. In my the point of all this is he's been a bright spot throughout the whole season.
He really has.
We haven't been able to see that much of him. And so I don't know if you guys saw my keys to the game, but did he get 18 carries?
He did. 18 carries for 19 carries for 88 yards, 4.6 yards per carry and a touchdown.
Right.
He worked for that touchdown too.
So yeah, he did. And so, that's one check off the, the box, and I said, get some motions in there to window dress the run game. But we got to work on the other things before we start being winners here.
While we're on the run game, I think a lot of people don't understand like how there's different running styles, right? Like Miles Sanders probably is a little bit more of a patient back than probably Chuba is.
Yes.
So Stu, how would you break down for like the average fan how it's like how each back has to have their style and what the difference is for those two styles to work? Like how do you be patient and have success? How do you just hit the hole and go and have success?
I mean, it's basically based upon the run, right? If you got an A-B gap run, you got to hit it and go.
Just get
downfield. Get downfield and make a guy miss and get to the second level. Now, as far as like, the trap plays or, a play where you got a pulling guard or a tackle, or you're waiting for your tight end to come, cross face to strike a pin block or whatever. Those are the plays that you got to wait to develop. You know what I'm saying? You got to have some patience, especially mid zones, outside zones. You got to make sure you give you have to set those blocks up, meaning you have to, convince the defender to be blocked, essentially.
Yeah.
So if you want to run a mid zone play, where are we hitting that? We're not hitting it outside. We're not bouncing it. So you have a bounce, you have a cut up, you have a bend back, you have a bend back, and then you have a bend all the way back, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to bend all the way back unless we really have to. But when you have a mid zone play, you got to make a defender think that you're going outside. So your patience has to be tempo to where you're influencing, that linebacker or that safety that you're getting outside. So that way your offensive line or your tight end can actually get on top of that block, and then you make that cut right off the back of his inside hip. And so those types of plays, Miles Sanders is probably really great at because he's a patient runner. He's not going in there with the mindset of I'm just about to destroy my body. Now, for me, I kind of had that mindset, but because I was the type of runner that was going to basically inflict, pain or inflict, a hit, it was less of a pounding on my body. It's when you're playing ball, man, you're either going to get tackled or you're going to hit the person, right? My mindset was I'm going to embrace my body to hit this person, not embrace to be tackled. And so those are two different types of runners.
It doesn't feel anywhere near as bad when you're the one that
it doesn't at all.
Yeah. Even if you don't think about it till after the game, like you don't feel it.
Later on you might feel it, but well, my shoulder hurt. But Miles Sanders too, he's injured, right? He got injured early in the year. So this is a long season. When guys get injured, you got to start running differently. When I got injured, when my ankles and whatnot, I ran differently. I ran to where I wasn't doing so much, turning and pumping my legs in piles, because if I pump my legs in piles, I'm going to roll my ankle again, right? So there's certain things that you do as a runner to preserve your body, to preserve, your opportunities to stay on the field. And I think that Chuba and Miles have the ability to run very hard. So there's nothing to say against Miles Sanders and his ability to to run just like Chuba ran the other night, because we've seen it. We've seen it the first several games where, he's fighting for those extra yards. And sometimes fighting for those extra yards puts you in position, to be exposed. You know what I'm saying? That we have to learn, when to go down, when to tuck the ball, and all those types of things. And so, I mean, it's a tough game, but whenever you're inflicting pain, it's a lot easier rather than getting tackled.
What a quick look at the box score in terms of just poking around on offense. Bryce Young, 23 for 38, 217 yards, had a touchdown, got sacked 4 times. His quarterback rating was 85.1. I think it was the highest he's had this year. Chuba ran for the 88 yards. Adam Thielen caught 11 passes. He's clearly become the number 1 target for Bryce in this offense. Still kind of waiting on Terrace Marshall Jr. I don't know what's happened, because he had that 1 week where he caught like 9 catches, and we haven't really seen him since. No receiving catches, yards, or anything this past Sunday on 3 targets. So keep an eye on that name in the bye week, because I've had this nagging feeling that some of these guys aren't going to be here when we come back and start playing again in 2 weeks. I just don't know exactly which way they're going with this. Troy Hill did have that interception late in the second half on Mike White, who came in. Can we take like 2 minutes and talk about Tyreek Hill, and how unfair it is that he is in this league? Because
so fast,
dude, the fastest man alive. Like, he literally, it's like trying to keep smoke in like an open cage. Like, he's just like, when he caught that ball in the middle of the field, and there's literally like 8 Panthers in front of him, I was like, barbecue chicken, this is over. Like, as soon as he got to that side, it was like watching a video game. He just went like Tecmo Ball. He just went like past down.
I don't think people realize too how fast Raheem Mostert is.
Yes,
that dude is
smoking.
Scary. Yeah. The whole offense is just scary. Waddle is fast.
So fast.
Waddle is
he
fast.
Could be, I think he could be the fastest running back for sure.
Oh, the dude that was out, isn't he faster than him? Achan, or how do you, I don't know.
He's pretty quick too. Yeah,
he's fast too. Like, they've all been clocked. Like, I saw something where like 5 or 6 of the fastest like clocked miles per hour in the NFL this season.
Dolphins.
They're all the Dolphins. It's
Achan's averaging like 10.4 yards a carry.
Yeah. I think he had
first down every time he touches.
So it's like 12 yards or something.
That's like Jamal Charles. What, average 8 yards, 7 yards for his whole career?
No, I think the highest was Jim Brown at like 5 or something like that. So like it usually.
I feel like what was Jamal Charles?
We'll find it.
Jamal Charles.
How do you put that?
Higher than that.
Highest average yard.
Jamal Charles averaged 5.4 for his career.
Yeah, the player with the highest career average is Jim Brown.
Well, at least one of those years it was like 7.
Small charge. He had a 5.4 yard per carry with a minimum of 1,000 carries.
2011, he had 6.9 a carry.
That's crazy, bro.
That's nuts. Mike Vick is the highest average at 7 yards per carry, but he doesn't have the minimum 1,000 rushes. So, which makes sense. That checks out with Vick. But no, just watching that team, it made me go back to in my mind when I was watching it, because that game was really 2 games. It was the first quarter and then the rest of it. Because it felt like when we got ahead, I wasn't like, oh, we're going to win this game. I'm like, oh, we got spotted 14 points. Is that going to be enough? And in my head, I was like, no, it is not going to be enough in this game, because it's just a matter of Miami figuring it out. It almost felt like Miami was trying stuff on us the first like couple of drives, like that one play.
The fake QB sneak.
Yeah. When Tua the one where Tua threw it like backwards to the running back and he couldn't catch it. So it was like a fumble and he had to like run it like out of bounds pretty much. That looked like Mike McDaniel was just like in the back of the playbook, like, all right, Panthers are here. It's 0-5. Let's try this one out and see what happens. Let's just see what they're going to do and see how.
I actually feel like there was a couple of plays in that game where if things would have went the other way,
the fake punt,
ooh,
that would have if the football field was just a little bit wider, a little bit, if the earth rotated a different way that day, like, just a little different, like speed up earth.
And Laviska had to look at that replay up on the screen, like as soon as he got off the field, and was just like, oh
man, it was a great play, great effort and everything, man. Like it just so happens that the field, I think the paint on the sideline was a little bit,
too thick.
It was too thick. They did it wrong that day. Usually the sideline ain't there.
Man, golly. So,
but if we that's a pivotal point in the game where, like, you know, now as an offense, you're sitting on the sideline and you're saying, "Oh, coach called that. Oh, we got the first down.
It's like, what is happening today? Like what is Frank Wright doing?"
So, like, if like from a motivational standpoint, like a confidence standpoint as a team, you convert that, like your mind
you got Miami,
is like,
yes.
oh, like I'm like, oh wow, like we here, man. We really out here about to win this. We trying to everything with our might to try to win this game.
That's the first time really all year where it felt like our offense had a defense on their heels. Like the first two drives, and honestly, again, Bryce Young feels like he's getting better to me each week. Like people are saying he can't throw a deep ball and all that kind of stuff. He was pushing the ball downfield on Sunday, and he had a couple throws where you're just like
the touchdown to Thielen where he just lofted it right over the safety.
Yeah,
beautiful.
There was another one where the guy, I think it was Thielen again, where he's crossing cross field and he has to kind of like drop it, like a bucket between the two. Yeah, he took a huge hit and he dropped it in between like the linebacker and like the cornerback that was behind him perfectly as he ran him out of bounds. It was stuff like that where I was like, okay, I can see why he's picked number 1 overall, because that was
We've tried to tell everyone Bryce is not the issue, right?
No, he's not the issue.
There's another play. I don't know if y'all saw it, but like it's like I think he hits like a crossing route. And like, it's almost like he doesn't even look. It's like a no-look pass. And it's like he's like shifting in the pocket because he's about to get hit, and he just throws it like he's not looking. Yeah. It's a no-look pass.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody talks about Patrick Mahomes and no-look passes, and it's, I guess, you know, everybody's been adding that to their tool belt. But our guy can do that. So he can throw no-look passes.
Man, look, my main takeaway from that whole game was the end of it, watching Tua and Bryce hug at midfield. And in my mind, I was like, they were ready to throw Tua out in the trash heap 12 months ago in Miami, pretty much. Like they were willing to let Ryan Fitzpatrick run this thing till the wheels fell off. And now they're looking at it like, hey, we might go to the Super Bowl. And I noticed something else too. It looked like Bryce was taller than Tua. Maybe it was the cleats or something, but when they were standing there side by side, he was taller. Like I was like, how tall is Tua?
Don't worry about it, Desmond.
It just felt like I never, you don't rarely see people that are shorter than Bryce, and I was just like,
I wish he was 5'7", so that way he would shock the world even more.
But no, I was concerned for Bryce that first drive when he got sacked from behind. I thought he got killed. Like he got hit hard. Like he dropped the ball. Luckily, he fell on it. But that pop from the TV, like,
it doesn't look good.
Yeah, it did not look good.
Make sure we got to protect our quarterbacks out here, man. A lot of quarterbacks I've seen this. Go ahead and tap that while we at it. I'm mad about this.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
Here we go.
Public service announcement. Let's not get our quarterbacks blasted out of this league. Hello, protection services. We need to make sure that our quarterbacks stay upright as much as possible. I'm tired of guys getting smacked in the face, smacked at the ankles, the knees, because I'm tired of watching the football games, man, and saying,
yeah. Like, oh, no. Feels like half the quarterback.
I mean, I did that last night for Dak Prescott, man. I'm like, good Lord. Like who was that pushed that man back in the backfield? Defensive end for
was it Bosa or Mack?
Mack wasn't Khalil Mack.
Oh, that's right.
Khalil Mack and the left tackle for the Dallas Cowboys. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, Tyron Smith.
Yeah. Man, listen. Khalil Mack moved him like he was a stroller. All right. Like I was like, good Lord. Like what you been doing this week? You've been eating the Wheaties? You've been hanging out, you've been going to the spa? What you been doing, man?
They got embarrassed the week before. So maybe
yes, they did. Well, but maybe I don't know, but Khalil Mack, man, that's a man, right? And there's a lot of people out there like him that are hitting quarterbacks, and that's not okay.
No.
Did you ever face Khalil?
No. Oh, yes, I have when he played for the Raiders.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think that was like his first or second year.
Yeah, like he was just coming on, and we didn't really know too much about him. And I actually think maybe he picked. Did he pick Cam off in the end zone?
That sounds
like
familiar.
A screen,
something like that.
I don't even know, man.
Yeah,
like something. It was like right before halftime. Somebody picked us off. It could have been him. I'm gonna say it's him.
Let's just do that.
We'll just say it's him until someone goes and finds out that it wasn't.
I'm sure being a running back in pass pro is not a fun gig when he's coming down the pipe.
You know, that's an unfair advantage. I used to always hate in pass pro meetings where, you know, coach would be like, all right, and running back, you got Khalil Mack or the junior Peppers, or before you go out in your route, make sure you chip so and so. Man, listen, I'm gonna give him a chip. Look,
you better get that ball out.
look, Jordan Gross. I'm gonna help you, but it ain't gonna be a lot.
Yeah, I ain't moving it.
I'm gonna give you this chicken wing. I'm gonna give you this chicken wing, and if this chicken wing don't work now, then it's on you.
I know we're going to be running up against time in about 20 minutes or so because we're going to stop at 11. But I did want to talk about the big news coming out of Panthers camp the past couple of days. One of the reasons why I like that we wait until Tuesday to do these because things kind of happen right after the games that a lot of these podcasts miss because they get on so early because they're so emotional. They got to get it all out. I'm mad. I'm angry. Like, fire Frank Wright. He's not good enough.
Instant gratification.
Bryce Young. Thomas Brown. Elevated to he already was offensive coordinator. Elevated to play caller. Schuyler, your thoughts on this? Because we've all been pretty adamant that while he hasn't actually called an official NFL game before, he was calling some second halves of some of our preseason games. So he does have a little bit with that, and he's been putting in input, as I think we've seen the past couple of weeks with some of the elements, like Stu said, with some motion and some things like that. It comes from the Sean McVay tree, LA Rams. What exactly do you think will change with the playbook, if anything at all? Because if I'm not mistaken, Thomas Brown had a hand in writing these plays. So won't it just be the same plays, just called from a different guy?
It's not going to be like a whole new offense out there. It's going to be exactly what you've seen. It just might be a different,
cadence.
More
dressing, more stuff around the, more motion, more confusing the defense.
Kind of feel for the game. Like Frank said, each coordinator, each coordinator is going to have their own personality. Like they may run the ball in certain situations that Frank may not, and he may throw the ball in certain situations that Frank may not. But at the end of the day, it's the same play calls. It's just what he likes to see, what he wants to call. And really, I don't think it's going to change much because like Frank said, and I kind of agree with him, like the offense has kind of looked a little bit better over the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And even though they're not putting up points, they're maybe not, the wins or the losses are continuing to stack up, but they're starting to play a little bit better. It's going to help even more when you get Austin Corbett back. But I'm really, really interested to see like how much Sean McVay influence this is going to have. Because like Stu said earlier, you get people moving off their keys. That's the one big part. The second thing is you get those guys moving sideways. That's going to tire them out by the third and fourth quarter. That's a very big difference. And I know a lot of you guys probably don't watch West Virginia, but West Virginia hadn't been doing any of that stuff, that pre-motion stuff, until last week against our game against Houston. Houston was gasping for air. They did it every single play. They were motioning guys all over the place. They were moving the receivers from the right side to the left side, back over to the right side, guys moving as the ball was being snapped. It looked like I was watching Navy in the shotgun. Like it looked so weird. But it definitely has an influence on the defense. So I think the biggest part, though, is really just a smoother operation because Frank doesn't have as much on his plate. He's able to see what personnel's in the game. He knows who's in the game.
Manage the clock.
Yeah, they're not running up against the play clock. So I think it's just going to be a smoother operation.
Yeah. Whenever you got your receivers going in motion, man, think about this. You are putting stress on the legs of that defensive back that has to go with him everywhere. Yep. Last night, Keenan Allen scored a 1-yard touchdown because the DB was gassed. Put it that way. Like legitimately, all he did was go in a jog and scored a touchdown. Y'all can go back and watch it. But my man Keenan lined up and like did a half motion. It was just like he was just lackadaisical, just like going on a jog, and didn't change pace at all. Went to the flat, caught the touchdown, and that was it. And then Buddy got there late. I don't know what he was thinking. He must have just been tired.
Yeah.
So whenever you get guys going in motion like that, you are just really tiring them out. You know what I'm saying? At that rate, it's third quarter, fourth quarter. The most conditioned guy is going to win that route. You know what I'm saying? The most conditioned guy is going to win that block. You know what I'm saying? So it's more than just X's and O's and running plays. It's about who's the most conditioned. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think too, and especially if you have depth issues. You know what I'm saying? I think like last night, Dallas had some injuries at corner at the DB spot, right?
Well, yeah, Diggs is out for the season.
Yeah, Diggs is out. So, I mean, hey, question mark.
And the third thing too with that is like you have a rookie quarterback who is very good processor, understands the defense, but there's still going to be some times where defenses in the NFL are going to confuse him. So when you do send guys in motion, what's the number one thing that comes out of that?
Zone or man?
Man or zone, right?
That helps a rookie quarterback. So the biggest thing for me, positive wise, was once the game was over and looking back at the first 6 weeks, because me and Stu were hot. I think we were like at 3-3 or something like that when we did these predictions, and you were like at 1-5 or something like that. And Schuyler was pretty much on point in terms of the things to look out for, not a lot of depth, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We got 9 dudes on IR right now. 5 of them, I think, are defensive starters. So that kind of explains a little bit as to why these teams keep pulling away or whatever. I agree. The offense is starting to look a little better, a little smoother. They do tend to go away with what worked the first half. Like they drift into the second half and they stop doing what was working. I don't know if that's a Frank Wright play calling issue. We'll find out because that's been remedied. So we'll see if they can kind of keep things going. I would have liked to seen some more Chuba in the second half before it kind of got really pulled away from him. The 6 games they've played this year, 4 of them have been on the road, and 2 of those 4 were at Detroit, at Miami. Like they might meet in the Super Bowl. Like they might be 2 of the best teams in the league, and we had to play them both. Like literally, Detroit ain't playing around. Like Detroit is here. Like it's not they're a wild card. They might squeak in. They might mess around and have the number 1 seed in the NFC when all this is over with. And same with Miami. Like both of them feel like they're going up like this. Where like this past week, the 49ers and the Eagles kind of felt like they came down a little bit, especially I know the Browns have like the number 1 defense in the league or something like that, but that's not a game the 49ers should lose. I know they lost players. Shout out to CMC, who got hurt. Who else? Debo got injured in that game. They're missing some weapons. So that's their Achilles, really. Like they're missing that. We're going to talk about Achilles heels here in just a bit, too, because I don't know.
Aaron Rodgers, boy. Oh, my goodness. He got alien.
I don't know what's going on over there, but we'll get to that in just a second. I want to get around NFL.
I'm going to tell you why I'm mad about that.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why we mad. I'm going to tell you why we mad.
What kind of surgery you have?
It's been like 28 days since he had the surgery. Like, and he had to throw a football field. I saw Richard Sherman last night. I was watching some clips from Undisputed, and he's had the same surgery.
Me too.
Oh, you had an Achilles?
Yeah.
So how long was it before you could put weight on it? Because he was saying like 3 months or something like that.
It was definitely 3 to 4 months to really just be out there like without
what the hell's happening?
It was probably like 2 months actually, 2 to 3 months.
Did he really?
But for him to be out there for 30, it's been 38 days, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and he just out there just like, oh, no problem.
I can't process it. It's like what? Like what do you mean?
This is the difference. This is the difference here. I'm gonna tell you. He is channeling his inner goat. Okay. Right now he is channeling an inner goat called Alien Goat.
Alien Goat.
Aaron Rodgers is an alien goat. And he came to Earth through birth. And he's basically an alien. I don't know how else to tell you. I can tell you a couple of other alien. There's a lot of aliens out here that we don't know about, but
Tyreek Hill
is another alien. Golly, he's definitely an alien.
That boy is something different with him.
He's on planet fast.
Do you think we see Rodgers play this season?
I do. I think so, bro.
How is that possible?
Think about this. Jets, the way the Jets defense is playing.
That's good enough.
Like, man, look, all he got to go out there and be like Peyton Manning when he played for the Denver Broncos. You remember that?
Handed
they
off.
won a Super Bowl against the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Shame.
But he had the worst offensive output of any Super Bowl winner in history, if I'm not mistaken.
The defense showed up. That's all that mattered for them.
He threw
right?
180 yards or something in that game.
The Jets, I'm gonna go out there and say this. If the Jets just do their business on defense and somehow on offense they just figure out how not to mess up, we're gonna see them in the playoffs.
That's the catch-22, isn't it? Because if they're good enough to be in the playoffs, then that means Zach Wilson kind of did his job, right? Like he did what he needed to do to get there. So do you disrupt that chemistry in December by bringing in Aaron Rodgers with a
because you're gonna need
a kid? I don't even understand how to describe it. Like,
because whoever you're gonna have to play is gonna be dropping points. I don't care. So
Bengals, Chiefs, Bills, Miami.
Miami honestly reminds me of the Bengals the year they went to the Super Bowl. Like where you didn't feel like it was real, but it's starting to look really real. Like,
they remind me of the 99 Rams, and I'll say it right now after week 6, like after seeing it up close, because the 99 Rams was my squad, and they had speed all over. Asakeem, like all of them dudes was fast, and then you had a running back like Marshall could do a little bit of everything. They don't have that, but they have 2 dudes at running back that are faster than your car. So they don't really. And Tua, all Tua has to do is put it in the right spot. He's the perfect quarterback for the system because that's what he does. He's accurate. He's a 70% thrower. Like he just needs to know where he needs to lead the ball to. Like he's throwing the spots. Like he's not throwing, he's throwing the areas. And you put Tyreek Hill 30 yards out from to a dead center of the field, and there's nobody like right on top of him when the ball gets to him. Barbecue chicken. Like you can't catch him. You got to be in front of him to tackle him, because if you're behind him, he's going to run away from you. It's not even going to be like I'm keeping pace. He's literally going to do this into the end zone. And then that flip that he did with the phone.
With the phone, like
I want to see that footage of him. Like,
I wish I could do that.
I do too. I saw it. I was like, that was cool.
I was like, damn,
that was pretty cool. I can't be mad. That was pretty cool. So going forward, let's stay here around the NFL. After all the stuff you saw this past Sunday, who do you think's the best team in the NFC right now?
The Philadelphia Eagles.
NFC?
Yeah, you still think it's the Eagles?
Right now with C-Mac being hurt, with Debo being hurt, right now, the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team. And I'll tell you why. This game that they just lost, Philly. Jalen Hurts had probably his worst game, like in several years, I guess. This is a game that really can either drive a team to doing better or drive a team to doing worse. This doesn't really seem like the type of team that this game is going to, make them become worse. If anything, Jalen Hurts is probably watching film right now, doing something to get better right now, along with his teammates and his comrades. And so they've proven that they've been able to get to that position like last year. And their goal has been this whole offseason to get back. And so they have the talent. They are proven. They've been in the position before.
Schuyler.
Detroit Lions, the Detroit Lions are talented. They have proven themselves. They deserve all the accolades right now as far as being 5-1. But they also haven't been there before.
They got to prove it to you before you give them. Yeah. Okay.
They haven't been there before.
What do you think, Schuyler, in the NFC?
I'd still say Philly too. I mean, I don't know if they lose more than 3 games this year. And I mean, San Fran, like it's been the injury bug with them, right? And last year that was an issue. This year it's starting to become an issue. And if it does again, look, everyone's and I don't understand it. I really don't. Like Brock Purdy's a good quarterback, but he's also got a heck of a lot of help. Okay, so like we're about to see what Brock Purdy's really made of. And I'm not there in the category saying Brock Purdy's elite like everybody else is saying.
Yeah, I'm not there.
He's got to, for him to be elite, he's got to prove that without those guys, he can still win games and win them handily. And
I'll tell you the difference between if you want a comparison of what elite is, Christian McCaffrey is elite.
Yep.
Now, will you match Brock Purdy to the eliteness of Christian McCaffrey?
No.
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 So yeah. So let's that should end the discussion.
I will say a guy that's heading towards that way, and a name you're going to hear in MVP conversation this year is Jared Goff. I've been on Goff from the get-go. I don't remember what I saw from him earlier in the season, but my man looks good. Like
there's only three teams. Only 3 teams in the NFC I think have a legit shot. That's Philly, San Francisco, and Detroit. Outside of that, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, then you get into Dallas is 4-2, Tampa's 3-2.
Yeah, Dallas should have lost that game last night.
Yeah, they got lucky.
Herbert had probably one of his worst games throwing the ball last night that I've seen. And it's not even fair. It's not even close.
I will say this though, on the NFC side, because my pick right now is Detroit, but there's a case to be made for San Francisco looking at point differential across the entire league. Phillies, their point differential is plus 31. They've scored 155. They've allowed 124. I thought they've been in some close games like all year and just kind of got away. Detroit is plus 55. So same kind of deal. San Francisco is plus 97. They have scored 184 points and have only allowed 87 points through 6 weeks.
That's the key right there. Is like when you get into the playoffs, that's why I lean toward more Philly and San Francisco, because if Detroit has to go on the road and play San Francisco, I mean, even if it's at home, I trust San Francisco's defense against Detroit than the other way around. I don't think that Detroit's really going to have much success against stopping all those weapons 49ers have.
Real quick before we get out of here, AFC side, who do you think's the best in the AFC right now? Because that one's a little bit more jumbled up at the top. Well, it's about 5. Well, you got Miami, Baltimore, Jacksonville, Kansas City.
Honestly, probably Miami. Kansas City's a close second.
Yeah. I can't name the skill position players for Kansas City, which is nuts. Like, who's he throwing this to? Like who's handling the ball? Well, then they got no, I can't.
I'm going Kansas City.
I mean, until somebody
I can't argue with it. I can't argue with it.
I think Kansas City's defense is actually starting to play pretty good. Like over the last couple of years, I like their defense better this year than I do in previous years.
They're on a 5-game win streak, Kansas City. After that opening Thursday night loss, they've won 5 straight.
I got something else I want to talk about that I'm mad about.
Yeah, go ahead and get it in.
Giants.
I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son. I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
Look, you mad at your quarterback for calling the option to run at the goal line there. First of all, don't yell at him. Don't call that play.
Yeah, you called it.
You called it.
You mad at?
Don't be mad at him for doing what you told him to do. Come on, man. And you had a timeout, I think.
That's the second time the Giants have popped up and tell them why you're mad this season.
No, it's just you on national television, bro. Like, I know you a coach and you want your players to do well, and you a good coach. Like, they buying in for you, they doing all the things, but you're not about to yell at Tyrod Taylor.
That's why I'm mad.
I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son. I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
Why in the world did the Giants have every game on primetime television this year? They've had like every game, it feels like, it's been after 8 o'clock. Like, why?
What's what happens when a big market team wins in the previous year?
Yeah, but still, like, nobody wants to see this. And you keep putting it on Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. Like, make it stop. I don't want to see. Can't y'all flex them out?
Did y'all see the swift handshake at the end between him and McDermott? It was interesting. You have to go and see it on Twitter X. It didn't look like Dable was very happy, which is interesting because the two work together.
I thought you were about to give a Taylor Swift reference there because she's still around. She's still out there doing a thing.
I saw that video on Twitter where somebody put it was off some show or whatever, and he's just screaming like, "I don't care!" And it's the perfect.
I'm mad about something else.
Emotion.
We've already talked about it. We've seen it, but these dogs.
I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son. I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
These refs out here earning the right to be memed with 3 blind mice right now. Okay, listen. That was holding. Waller was held. He was held off and all. You called the same penalty the play before. Don't be scared to call it again.
We got to give them a give me back type thing.
Yeah, man. Look, if they hold 4 plays in a row, you got to call it 4 plays in a row.
There are a shortage of good referees at all levels. I see it every Friday.
Desmond, you got to get your conditioning up so that way you can go ref.
Who, me? Nah, bro. I'm out of breath walking from my front porch to the to the car.
That's another. Well, that's an issue. We need to talk about that.
Yeah. we got to get out of here. We're up against the time today, but we'll
also too. I just want you to let you know. Oh no! Also, I saw Schuyler last week for the first time in the flesh.
Oh
yeah, Schuyler, you was 6'1". You 6'1".
Yeah, I'm like 6'2" or 3. I don't know how much.
6'2", 3, $180.
You didn't know?
Yeah,
you didn't know? Yeah,
I didn't know. I'm like, God dang, what you tall?
We need to wide receiver. I'm 6'2".
Dang, y'all both tall, ain't you?
Well, my daddy was 6'8", so my whole family is 6 foot tall.
Midget like, all right.
Midget like.
we got to go. The audio will be on all major podcast platforms through the Bleav Podcast Network. We're presented by Bet Online. I don't know if we're doing a show next week. We're on a bye. We kind of deserve a break too.
We're gonna talk about something next week.
We'll do like all.
We'll have something to be mad about.
There'll be something to be mad about when we come back around. So check for us next Tuesday. I think typically we're in the morning, so you can check for us there. We got to get out. Peace. Panther Nation is not that bad. I know we come on here every week and say it, and something happens to make it feel like it's worse than the last time we said it, but it's really true. It's not that bad. It's a bye week. Take a deep breath. We're going to reset. 11 more games to go. 11 more games to go. So on behalf of Schuyler, Callihan, and Jonathan Stewart, I'm Desmond Johnson for the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast. Keep pounding.